Hello, Gremolinos. Can we guess the theme of the video? By the shirt. So this weekend, first, hi, I'm Catherine. I'm your favorite asthmatic, mostly 10-fingered chaos reader. And this week, the Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out. And so, because I really was not feeling up to doing like a big May the 4th thing near May the 4th, I decided to move a lot of what I do for that to this week. So it is the Wednesday before the movie comes out. It is before work. And I wanted to start the video in here, but we're kind of immediately going to my kitchen. I haven't even made coffee yet, though I desperately need it. So in this vlog, I will be reading 2 Star Wars books, just 2. I'm trying to keep this vlog kind of short. So 2 books that I have been waiting since last year to read. I just did not get the time. Well, one, I didn't get the time during the month of May, and then the other one, one I found at the very end of May and just like could not fit it in. So I do have 2 books. And we'll be doing a lot of food stuff. I make a lot of food for Star Wars themed things, and that's actually why we need to go to the kitchen, because I need to prep soup. And you're gonna see what I'm talking about. I've made it before, so you'll definitely understand. I'm not really gonna give you an official recipe besides Catherine throws things in a crock pot, but I will show you how that goes. After I've made coffee and gotten the soup on, I will let you know what the first book we are reading is, because I did read the epilogue a little bit, so I would get kind of an idea of how the story was going to go. It helped in setting it up in the world and showing us like how this character has impacted things, so that was fun. But I haven't read much at all. It is very warm. It's cooler today than it was yesterday, so if you hear outside noise, it's because I have to leave my window open in my office or I will melt away. Even in a t-shirt, I would be hot, but I really want to wear this shirt. So I have this on, and I have a fan on. So yeah, let's get to Star Wars food making. So we're gonna head downstairs. Come with me, Gremolinos. Okay, my water machine is making so much noise. This is the stuff for potato soup, which is Star Wars potato soup. It's technically a recipe in the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge cookbook, but I have combined that recipe with a crock-pot potato soup recipe my mom used to make. So I have vegetable broth, this guacamole salsa in medium, frozen chopped onions, frozen hash browns, shredded hash browns specifically. I'm gonna throw all that in the crock-pot and then you will see what I'm talking about. That's everything. It's all together. It's all in the crock-pot. So I just used the whole thing of the salsa, all the broth, all the potatoes, all the onions. It's all in there. So I'm just gonna toss this on, and we're not eating this until later today, so I'm actually gonna put it on low because I really don't want it to get too overcooked, and I feel like if I put it on high it's gonna cook too fast. So we're doing this for dinner since I have to blend it after. So yeah, this is just chilling, and now we're gonna make coffee. So let me go over and prep the coffee and then I'll make it, and I'll show you what cup I'm using and stuff. And coffee. So I'm using my Protect Attack Take a Naps mug because it's pretty big and I can put extra coffee in there. And also, I realized I don't have a bag to show you. So this coffee is from TJ Maxx, and it has a little bit of the leftover Joffrey's Biscotti coffee in it. There was not very much left, and I wanted to get the bag out of the way, so I just cut it and tossed it in there. I'm pretty sure I've actually used all of the Joffrey's grounds because they're at the top. But it's Madeleine cookie flavored. It has like the finest coffee grind ever. Like it's like espresso ground, I think. I don't know. It is very fine, but it does taste like a Madeleine cookie. It's really good. So that's what I'm doing right now in the Keurig, and then I'm heading upstairs where the book is, and I will explain to you which book we're reading first, and set you up for the rest of the vlog. And we're back. I also realized I've left the fan on every time. I'm too hot. I'm sorry if it's bothering you. It won't be on in every clip, but it will be on right now because my office is still cooling down. Also I have coffee. It's so very hot. I am so tired. I am currently on some meds because my asthma is having, I probably have some like sinus infection that's not going away, but it's bothering my lungs, and so I'm on prednisone, and I don't sleep on prednisone, so I'm exhausted. But onto the book, which is why you're actually in this room. The book I'm reading first is Star Wars A New Dawn, which is like a prequel book to Star Wars Rebels. So in this we're following Kanan Jarrus and Hera. I don't know that Hera's in this initially, but she will be, because they're together in Rebels. But these two do play pretty important parts in each other's lives. Kanan, though, does seem to be our main character because we're introduced to him as a Padawan at the very beginning of this. Now, if you're reading this and you don't know this, Kanan's name before Rebels, and this does come up, is Caleb. So they're talking about someone named Caleb, and that's him. Because I feel like if you don't know that, you might be confused. But that's why. I don't know. I feel like that's not a spoiler, right? That's like a thing you need to know. Yeah, it even says that he was forced to flee Coruscant. So yeah, I'm just letting you know. The intro makes sense because it's Kanan. But I have read very little. So I plan to read more of this. I think is it 381? Yeah, 381 pages, which is pretty hefty, but I found this at a half-price bookstore for $4. And I was super excited because Rebels is a very good show, and I was curious to see what this book would be like because I had seen it on something, like a list of books if you liked Clone Wars, if you liked Rebels, and I was like, I've never seen this book. And then I hadn't seen it on a list. I was in half-price books and I just saw it in like a weird tiny section of Star Wars books, and I was like, what? And I was like looking it up to make sure it was like legit and not something weird. But I'm very excited to read this, even though I have not read much. So that's the plan. Oh, also my bookmark, which keeps falling out, is Ahsoka's green saber from Clone Wars. So yeah, I think that's it though. I am still warm, and I'm sorry if the fan is bothering you, but I'm so hot. And changing shorts is not going to help because I'm just hot in general. I also at some point need to make iced coffee this week because I'm a dope, and I have not yet. I even have a little new iced coffee thing that should be less messy than my system last year. So I need to work on that. I need to do that. But I'm gonna go. I have to finish getting ready for work. And I will update you when I have a book update for you. Oh, also sometime in this vlog, Krista and I are going to try and watch Maul Shadow Lord because we hadn't gotten to it yet. It's only 10 episodes and our plan is to watch it over the course of this like week. We have some other stuff we want to watch too, but I do want to try and watch it. Because we only really put it off because I was not in like the headspace to watch it. And then I was like, well, at this point we should just wait until the final episodes come out because they all, like, everything was out by May 4th. So the plan is just to watch it sometime this week. But I'm gonna go. I'm going to try and cool down, and I will talk to you about A New Dawn later. Hello. I'm using the same cup. I rinsed it out real quick. But this is the soup. Ta-da! It's very green. I have to add a little bit of cheese because it's pretty spicy, but I blended it, kept it in the crock pot. But I'm just not taking my lunch, but I didn't want to wash another cup. Krista has her soup in the living room, so I am headed in there to eat, and I will talk to you later with book updates. I promise, Gremolinos. Hello, Gremolinos. We are taking this brief window where they're not doing construction outside my house to give you an update, both on soup and on A New Dawn. So soup was delicious. It's always a little bit spicy, and we always add cheese. So I picked up the medium version of the like guacamole salsa. I forget what brand it is. I think if I got the mild, it wouldn't need the cheese. And one time I made it with the wrong one, like the not guacamole one. It was like a salsa verde, and that one was also good, and it wasn't spicy. So if you don't like spice, I would say switch like the mild or to the non-creamy one, and just do their like salsa verde. It's really good though. Very good soup. We have plenty left. Now into A New Dawn. So I am exactly halfway through. I love when a book like somehow just works out that there's an exact halfway point. Like you can end on a chapter and you're exactly halfway through. I love when that happens. So we are, I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. We are predominantly in this very outer rim area on these two planets called, where is the other one? So it's Gorse and, what is the other one? Oh my gosh. Hold on. Gorse and Cinda. And Cinda is being mined for this particular substance, but they're mining it very like quickly and they're actually under Imperial inspection. So what's going on is Kanan is currently living on Cinda and working, I think he lives on Cinda. They're like two kind of connected planets. Gorse is like always in shadow, so I believe Kanan is living on Cinda because that's where all like the workers are. We haven't like been to his house. He just kind of like hangs out at this cantina. But we're following Kanan and Hera, but a number of side characters. So if you've read any of it's reminding me of a lot of other Star Wars books I've read where you get like different points of view in a variety of like ways. Like a character will appear and we'll get kind of their point of view, but they're tied into the larger story. So predominantly we're following Hera and Kanan. Kanan slightly outweighs Hera in terms of chapters, which kind of makes sense because we started with him in the prologue. And then we're getting people on Cidna. One of the primary people we are focusing on is Skelly, who is one sec, I need to grab another water. Who is a veteran of the Clone Wars. He was not a clone, but he did serve, and he is missing a hand, but it was replaced, but it's been replaced with not a humanoid hand. He gets into a whole thing where like he was told the best meds would be available for the soldiers, and that was not the case. And the only thing he knows how to do is to be a demolitions expert. That's what he was trained to do, and now he's kind of stuck in Cidna doing explosives work because that's all he can do. But the issue is he knows that the planet is in danger from all of this mining, but he has been like telling very high-ranking people somehow that like all this stuff, but the issue is he's a bit scattered. So he is very definitely having issues kind of like bringing everything together solidly, and so it does sound a little bit tinfoil hat, but he is correct in some regards. Like the planet is in danger, so we're getting a lot of him. We've also met some folks who do like surveillance of the planet. That's their job. I cannot remember her name. She's a very cool character and starts with a Z, but she's been introduced, and then Hera was supposed to be meeting someone, and that meeting didn't go as planned. She took an interest in Skelly because of things he was saying, and so there's a lot of this like something very bad is definitely going to happen to Cidna. There's also this horrible man named, is he on the back? It's like it's right here, Vidian. Vidian has a Grievous style body, so he is androidy. He's replaced a number of his parts because at some point he had like some kind of disease that like ate away at him, so he replaced a lot of his parts, and now he's very mechanical. And on top of that, his thought process before this was very like anything to benefit him is fine. So he is evil. Like he is very willing to just destroy people, take them out, does not care. He is also in a bit of a tiff with someone who is under him in Imperial command, and this person is trying to like screw him over, which is making him act even more recklessly while in Sidian. We are also following her name is in like the first chapter. She hasn't been in it a ton. Nope. Ray Sloan, who is currently the captain of a Star Destroyer, but she's like a temporary captain, so it's like a whole thing, and Vidian is trying to say like he could help her in the future, but she needs to do exactly what he says, even though some of the things he's done are truly atrocious. And so yeah, it is very much reading like a Rebels movie, I would say, like a prequel movie. So it is very fun. It's a very fast paced. So yeah, I'm not surprised that I'm already halfway through. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep, I'm still like getting over whatever the heck I have. And it's making my cough worse. And I was just trying to talk quick so that I wouldn't cough too much. But I am very much enjoying it. And what's funny, not funny haha, but like funny interesting to me, is that Dave Filoni mentioned that he had insight into the character designs for the cover. And Hera's Leiku here, because Hera's a Twi'lek. I feel like I'm saying it wrong either time. But I feel like her Leiku in the show are much longer than this, but she's animated in that. But this like humanoid version of her Leiku are shorter, which is interesting to me because there was a whole thing about Ahsoka and Hera's, I'm just gonna say tendrils, because they're kind of technically two different things. They are very short in comparison to the animated versions, and even like some art of the characters, they've been shortened for the live action versions. And I would almost say these are like the length the Funko figure of animated Hera is, because I have her Funko. Her Leiku are much shorter for the Funko because the heads are so big, but like they're like this length, and I would say the length in Ahsoka, the show, has been very close to this. These are a little bit longer, but these are definitely shorter than animated Hera's. So I just think it's interesting that Dave Filoni did weigh in on this, and they're kind of like an in-between of the animated and the full, like the animated and the live action, which I just think is so interesting. And also Kanan looks identical to animated Kanan. I will say Hera here looks much different. They've given her kind of a pinup look, but that's fine. In that men buy these books typically, and I'm sure they were like, we'll make her busty and beautiful, and I feel like that's what it is, even though I feel like Hera wears like less shapely clothing when she's out and about in Rebels. But yeah, so I am very much enjoying it. It is reading very old school Star Wars, but because these are Rebels characters, I always feel like their dialogue is more peppy. Like Kanan is a flirt, and so he is very flirty with Hera, and you know they get together, so like that's been fun. But yeah, so the goal is to finish this sometime not too long. I don't know that I'll finish it today, but I do want to read a little more today if at all possible. I don't know if we're watching Maul tonight or tomorrow. If we don't watch it tonight, then I'll probably read a little bit more. If we do watch it tonight, I probably won't, just so I don't like confuse two Star Warsy things, consuming them at once, but we'll just see how that goes. But I'm gonna go. I will talk to you at some point. I don't know when, but I will talk to you, Gremolinos, when I have some sort of update for you. Hello, Gremolinos! It is the start of my lunch break, and I finally have time to talk to you. I was very worried they were going to be doing construction outside of the house, so I was like holding off because there were a bunch of trucks, but they haven't started anything yet, so hopefully I can get this in. I am here in my Clone Wars shirt. Ta-da! Clone Wars. I love this shirt because it has both Maul and his brother Savage. I love Savage. Anakin's on the side, and then just so you can see the rest of it, there's Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. Also love Ahsoka, and Yoda. I'm very sure my eye makeup is a hot mess. I don't know. I think I put too much on this morning. I don't know. It's smudgy. I look like a raccoon. But I'm here to give you an update because I do have updates. It just like was not a day for things. I'm also drinking out of my Maul coffee mug. I've had way too much coffee, and now I'm having seltzer water in it. It was a loud sip, but it says Maul on the front. And then Maul's now like official symbol according to Disney. They changed it up. He was just like an empire. They've changed his symbol from what I remember, but that's what they're using for him now on like official merch. But yes, so I am doing all this because hopefully we're gonna watch Maul, some of it tonight, the Shadow Lord show. We watched Supernatural last night instead, which was fine by me. We were just relaxing, and I was not feeling particularly well. Sometimes when I start meds, I'm like kind of sick when they start, but I'm feeling okay today. Today's been very goofy. Krista wound up using her lunch break to run an errand, so she didn't actually eat here. She just like dropped off the things she was picking up and grabbed food to take to work. So that's why I'm filming at the start of my lunch break, but also why I didn't film before, because like I wasn't sure when she was coming home, if she was coming for lunch. I am going to show you the things she picked up later today, but for now, I need to talk to you about A New Dawn. Ta-da! I finished it. So this was fun. It's very definitely prequel movie-esque for Rebels. There are a lot of explosions. We get some very cool characters. Zaluna, am I saying her name right? I keep feeling like I'm saying it wrong. Yeah, Zaluna, I was right. Zaluna and Skelly do play a pretty big part in this, but they are characters who will not move forward. Like you wouldn't expect to see them after because of events in here. I'm not going to say what those events were specifically because it is different things and different stuff. And I'm not telling you if they're alive or dead because that's the surprise of this. This does get very dramatic. We get a lot of like explosions and stormtrooper fights and we gotta save the day. All of that does happen. It does definitely do like a little bit of a lull while things are coming together, and then a lot of stuff. There's a lot of Empire deception. So the bad guy in this, he is much trickier than you would anticipate. And he also holds a grudge, which is why this is so focused on these specific planets. Well, yeah, they're planets. I did mess this up though. Everyone was living on Gorse and like traveling between Gorse and Sidna, which I just like didn't understand. Sidna was just being used as like a mining planet. And so people were just going back and forth, and I did not make that clear. But I I did enjoy this. I just like can't recap it too much without spoiling stuff. And I do think if you like Rebels, Clone Wars, because this does talk about the Clone Wars a lot, kind of the fallout of Clone Wars. We get a tease of Hera and what happened to her family during the Clone Wars. Skelly's plot is very Clone Wars connected. And Kanan's ties into Clone Wars a bit. Technically, Kanan, anything of his does also tie in a bit. Of course, there's a loud car. To Skeleton Crew. There is some stuff in Skeleton Crew that ties back to him. So just like, this really does feel like it fits into that whole like universe of animated Star Wars. And I just very much enjoyed it. Again, it gets sad. There are very sad scenes. There's sad events. This is set up very similarly to other Star Wars projects where like you don't know if characters are going to live and die besides these two, because you know they exist in a show after this, but anyone else is really up for grabs. I did like very much like the villain in this, maybe an Imperial, but also he's just like a creepy guy. Like he is doing stuff for his own motives, which most of the Sith are, or Imperials in general, but he's like doing it in such like this very, like he doesn't think he's gonna get caught, but everything is like a tangled web behind this guy. And I was like, good Lord. So Vidian's plot is far more complicated because he is moving a lot of chess pieces while also trying to be like top Imperial, which is so interesting to me. But moving on from that, I highly recommend. Definitely read this if you like Rebels, Clone Wars, all the animated content, because I very much think it will be worth your while. And you might be able to find it at a used bookstore. I think you can get it online, but I just happened to find it at a used bookstore. The next book that we'll be reading is The Princess and the Scoundrel by Beth Revis? Not sure. I got this primarily because I knew Krista would want to read this because it's Han Solo. Krista's favorite Star Wars character is Han Solo. And so I knew she would want to read this. So this is set after the original trilogy. So this would actually be Mando time. Ooh, very good planning, Catherine. I didn't plan this at all. But because Mando is set after the original trilogy. So this is also set around that time. And this is a Halcyon tie-on book. So this book was written with the now defunct Star Wars hotel experience. So the Halcyon was their big ship. It was a hotel stay. It was supposed to be considered like a cruise. You were a guest on the Halcyon, which was a transport like cruising vessel, and this very specifically says that they are on their honeymoon on the Halcyon, and that the Halcyon is like where a lot of this is going to be set, or the Halcyon is used a great deal. So it is sad that like there are Halcyon tie-in books, but they just chose to get rid of it. Like they shut it down. They moved. This is so strange. There's like a whole section in here. Is this part of, no, this is a teaser for another book. Okay, sorry. I'm like flipping. This whole back of this is Shadow of the Sith, which I think I read. Didn't I read that? Sorry, my stomach just growled. I'm really hungry. So this is 344 pages. And yeah, so it is sad because they did a lot of like comics, and I hadn't realized this book tied into the Halcyon so much, to really promote that they had built this massive, like, this is because they were talking about it in Supernatural, LARPing event. We were watching the Supernatural episode where there's like a big Supernatural convention and there's a LARP situation. But they had done all this stuff to promote the Halcyon and to tie things in and to make people really excited to go. And it was barely open because the experience was so expensive. Like thousands and thousands and thousands. They wanted you to pay actual cruise prices to stay at an immersive hotel, which I can get, but also people can't afford that. So like, cause Krista and I were like, that would be amazing, but we can't afford that. Like that's stupid money. That's no. So we were never gonna go. Like there was no way it was gonna happen unless we like won a contest, which there were some. We did actually enter those, but didn't win. So yeah, so this is gonna be a little sad because again, the Halcyon does not exist. Like it does in the world of Star Wars now, but like you can't go to it, which sucks. But I think they could have turned it into like a day experience or something. That's my own private thought. But I am very excited to read this. Also, this is the Halcyon. That's what it was supposed to look like. You went to a building and they like took you to space. So like you didn't see the outside of the Halcyon from like when you boarded it. If that makes sense. A little bit like their Space 220 restaurant where you like go up an elevator and you're in like a satellite kind of deal. But yeah, so I'm excited to read this. Maybe I will watch as background noise some people's old Galactic Star Cruiser, that's what it was called, videos. Always Believe did some fun ones. I really liked theirs, so I may watch theirs because they did 1 or 2. Cannot remember if they did 1 or 2. My brain is soup. But I am looking forward to reading this one. I don't think it'll take me too long, but I need to eat. So I'm gonna go, and I will loop you in if I get anything read while I'm eating, just like by the end of the workday, and if we wind up watching Shadow Lord. I'm really hoping, I'm sure Krista will be fine watching at least some of it, and then we'll probably watch Supernatural before bed. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna eat some food. Don't know what I'm eating. Have no idea. I sent Krista to work with pizza. I have no idea what I'm eating. Ta-da! We're gonna watch first episode while we eat soup. So I don't want to get copyright striked. But behold! Also, I'll show you the popcorn bucket in a little bit. That's the thing Krista brought home. It's very fun, but also a little bit expensive for a popcorn bucket. Okay, I'm gonna go because I'm gonna cough again. Bye for now. Hi, Gremlinos. My voice is kind of going in and out today. I'm feeling a little better, just my throat is a little weird. But I promised to show you the popcorn bucket last night and I forgot. You'll see me soon after I have coffee, but I wanted to do this now because he has a projector. And so the office is the darkest room of the house, so I can like set it up so you can see what he projects. He also plays music, but I'm gonna try and keep that part not playing. But yeah, this is the bucket. These never actually, like, this looks very cool. It looks like a mini bust, which is fun. And that's where the popcorn would go. We're not putting popcorn in them. Krista basically got him, was like, this is the only Mandalorian and Grogu like thing we're getting, like actual display thing, because like I did get the furblet, but I bought that months ago because I really wanted it because it's a little green Grogu furblet. I don't know that I showed you that either, but I bought him ages ago and he's just been hanging out in the bedroom, and we got like some sweatshirts, but we weren't gonna get like big fancy stuff. So she was like, yeah, I got it. It's very big. And we get a large popcorn because we bought it. But give me a sec to turn off the lights in here and then I will show you his projector. I'll probably time it so you can't hear the music, but it plays the new, like, well, not the new, it plays like the Mandalorian Grogu theme. Like, it plays a bunch of music that you would recognize. So let me get the lights off and I'll show you the projector part. Ta-da! There's a projector. It says the Mandalorian and Grogu, and it does play a bunch of music, so it is really fun. We're gonna set it up on display somewhere, and also I'm gonna get my lights back on. But yeah, that's what it does. It's actually, I mean, it's very cool. A little pricey for a popcorn bucket, but that's it. Oh, I want to show you. I'm gonna turn my lights back on 1 second. I'll show you something. So what's funny is Bath and Body Works did stuff, and we had a ton of like coupons, so I got this for free. But they almost look the same, and it's a little hand sanitizer holder. I think I'm just gonna display him somewhere. Right now he's just here with my other little Grogu guys. But I love when Grogu has the blue cookie. Oh, that's the other thing I have to do tonight. I have so much baking and like cooking to do. You'll see. We'll be in the kitchen for a lot tonight because Krista has cap. But I'm doing a lot of food stuff. That is gonna be really fun. But I need coffee desperately. So I will talk to you once I've had some coffee about my book. Hello, Gremlinos. Yes, I'm basically losing my voice, so I'm gonna not try and talk too much. I'm on my second very large cup of coffee in this very cool Galaxy's Edge mug that Krista and I got. We have not been, FYI, we have never been to a Galaxy's Edge. We have not been able to go. We were going to go for our honeymoon and it did not happen. Oof, my throat really hurts. But we got this online ages ago because we really wanted it. I'm also wearing my Ahsoka shirt. I love this shirt. It's very comfy. I am going to make a costume / outfit change later because I'm going to be doing a bunch of kitchen stuff and this has too much white on it. So I will be wearing a different shirt later. And speaking of white, I am debating what to wear to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. I was going to go casual, and then Krista's entire IT department, well, not entire, but a number of them, I knew I was going to cough. I am feeling better. My voice is just shot. We're just gonna hold the cup. But they called her because they're like, they make Star Wars like armors. They're armorers, and they do a bunch of stuff, and like they're spending the entire weekend basically at the movie theater for like photo ops and stuff. and they were asking when we were going because they thought we'd go Thursday, but no, both of us did not feel well enough, and we had to mow the lawn. And then Friday, today, Krista is working. She has a night shift, so she was like, we can't go to the movie on Friday, I'm working. And so we're going Saturday during the afternoon, and they were like, okay, we'll let your wife know. Because I normally like dress up. I have Leia, I have Ahsoka, I have some other stuff I've gone as Kira. But I was going to do just casual clothes, and I'm debating, and I kind of want to go as Leia solely because I know my hair currently will fit in the wig fine. And the Leia costume is from Disney, so it's like their official Leia look, and I have the boots for it. One sec. And it's slightly more recognizable because the Ahsoka outfit I have is a dress version of her outfit from her live action show. And I do have the Leiku for it, but I don't know that I want to wear the Leiku. I could. They're not super, like, they're pretty comfortable, but I don't know that I want to do that. And also I'd have to find tights and my boots for that. And I think I know where all of Leia's stuff is. It is so loud. There are so many trucks outside my house. So I don't know. I'm leaning towards going as Leia, but the entire outfit is white, which feels like a choice. Okay, so to limit my talking, which you can tell I'm not really doing, I am 100 pages into The Princess and the Scoundrel. This is cute, which sounds so weird to say, but this is very definitely a romance novel. But what's odd to me, okay, so it feels romance novel. It does. And they are leaning into Han and Leia together. Han and Leia have just gotten to the Halcyon, which is listed on the back of this, so that's not a spoiler. They're on their honeymoon now. They got married. The wedding ceremony was very pretty. We did get some scenes of Leia contending with the fact that she has found out that Vader is her father. I'm gonna put this down and take a sip of coffee. And she hates that. She doesn't really want to know that. So, like, there's a lot of that going on. Leia doesn't feel like she should go on a vacation, like a honeymoon, because they're building the Republic, because the Empire's fallen, and Mon Mothma is arguing, like, well, it looks good if you go on a honeymoon. It looks like we're good. The Republic is settling in. Like, hey, you should go. So it's kind of like a publicity stunt, and also not, because, like, they should go on a honeymoon, and, like, Han wanted to take her somewhere. It's just, that's what's interesting to me. There was also very definitely a fade to black scene. You know what that means if you've read romance novels. Ugh. I hate getting over being sick. So that's going on. Like, there's all of that. I will say what was fun is Cinda, the planet from the other book, the New Dawn book, New Dawn, was mentioned in this. And I was like, oh, hey, cool. I also do find it interesting that I did not do this on purpose, but I did basically pick 2 romance connected books. A New Dawn is more action, but you know it's a prequel to Kanan and Hera getting together. So, like, it's not super romantic, but it's like, he's flirty in general, but, like, you know it's leading to romance. This is the culmination of a romance. So I kind of picked a book that's like the build up to a romance that you don't see in book, but you will see in the show. And then The Princess and the Scoundrel is the culmination of a relationship that you kind of watch develop a bit over the course of the original trilogy. So I do think it's interesting that I wound up doing that. Totally unintentionally. I really didn't think about it. It was just 2 books I really wanted to read, and I thought I could get through them before this weekend is over. So yes, brain, Catherine. Ugh. My throat doesn't really hurt. It's just like certain sounds are bothering me a little. But yeah, so I'm taking another sip. So I am enjoying it. The only thing, like, I do appreciate that they're tying this into the Halcyon, but because I know the Halcyon is closed, the problem is my brain is kind of doing this is a little bit of interworld marketing, which I would appreciate if the option was still available. Like, I'm just having a little bit of a, like, you wanted to promote this thing so hard. You had books, you had comics, you had all this stuff, and it doesn't even exist anymore. I actually think they turned the building into offices, because they sent the bunk bed mattresses to a different, like, place. Like, they're at a different Disney resort. So I'm just like, okay. So that's throwing me off a little. Just mismanagement of assets, I think. Disney's particular mismanagement of things. Especially because now they have Han and Leia in Galaxy's Edge, So they could very perfectly have replicated this at this point, but at the time, that's not what they were doing. So I'm just like, y'all, you have this whole book that you could have used to re-theme the Halcyon to fit your new purposes at the park, and you didn't do that. Also, please note, I'm going to tell you this because I think it's so funny. I am going to stop talking. You're only going to get an update on this when I'm done, because I'm not going to be able to do any more updates for a little while. So Krista and I watched a video of people at the park with the Han, Luke, Leia, Darth Vader. That's the new thing. And I do not know what they told the actors they're supposed to know or not know. But Leia very specifically mentioned Luke was her brother, and my wife, my lovely wife, who has loved Star Wars since her youth, literally went, she can't know that yet. And I was like, what? And she was like, she doesn't know that till Vader dies, and Vader's walking around. Like, she can't know that. And I was like, oh, oops. So like, it may have just been a slip up. Like, they may have just said like, oh, say whatever you want, and that particular actor was not prepared, or they didn't really tell her like, oh hey, based on the timeline you wouldn't know that. But she did. She said my brother. She may not be saying that anymore, and that is totally not her fault. You should be completely prepped by the team in advance of things you should and shouldn't know as your character based on the timeline. So it's not on her. That is on the prep team. But Krista was like, she wouldn't know that. And she's like, it's really throwing me off that Vader is there when like none of this could be happening. She's like, it's cool, but also doesn't work. And I was like, I'm so sorry. So yes. Not that she hates Kylo Ren, because he killed Han Solo. If you have not seen a Star Wars thing, I'm so sorry, but I just assume you know general Star Wars public knowledge. If you're watching this. Because Kylo killed Han Solo, Krista hates him. And way back in the day, literally our first date was a trip to Disney. And I will explain very briefly. I know I said I wasn't going to talk much. But, so we'd been, like, visiting each other, spending time with each other. But we officially didn't start going out until December 1st of, oh, now I can't do math, 2017. And then, oh my gosh, my nose is so stuffy. I'm so sorry. But we had known each other since before that. And Krista had previously invited me to come to Disney with her because someone had invited her for their birthday. Yes, someone threw a birthday party over the course of a weekend at Disney. But she invited me and I did not have a ton of money. And so she was like, oh, I can help pay for you to come because I really want you to come. So like I went with her, but like we had just like officially started dating, and then that trip was pre-planned. So literally the first time we saw each other after we officially became girlfriends was Disney. So we literally were on our like first date, and it was like an extended, it's a very gay experience, mind you, gay female experience. And so like that was our date, but Galaxy's Edge didn't exist yet. So we walked around and we did the Star Wars stuff we could in Hollywood Studios, but there was a meet and greet area that we did not go to, where they said you could meet Kylo Ren, and Krista was just like, if I meet him, I'm gonna get thrown into Disney security. Because she was like, I'll punch him in the face. And I was like, this is not good for us. Like, you can't get thrown in Disney jail. So just know that like she probably would have almost punched Kylo Ren in the face. She wasn't actually gonna punch him, but you know what I mean. Also, final thing, we really liked Maul Shadow Lord, but I can't really tell you anything without spoiling a number of other projects kind of in depth. So I will say, if you like Darth Maul, you should watch it, but if you have never watched Clone Wars, you will not understand what's happening. So you need to have watched Clone Wars for Maul's plot in Clone Wars to understand what's happening in Maul the show. They do some like teaser things, but you at least very specifically need to have watched his episodes in Clone Wars. I cannot tell you those episodes. You need to watch his and the ones for his brother Savage, and then you'd be okay, but you do need to have watched arcs with Maul in them to know what's happening. They again do teasers, but they don't do it till like halfway through the show. Also just go in knowing they're not very obvious about like what planet you're on at first or what's going on. So again, you do kind of need to have watched Clone Wars, and the planet will be revealed to you. It's not, the planet itself is not that important, I don't think. Unless it's in something that I'm forgetting about, but like the planet itself was not something that like really hit me. Also, there are some things introduced that I know are in like video games, and have been mentioned in like the lore of Star Wars. Yeah, so you kind of need some foreknowledge before going into the show, or you'll be really confused. Okay, this clip is very long. Oh, also one more thing. I know I said I wasn't gonna talk, but after this I'm gonna not talk to anyone for a while. This is the little furblet. I don't know what to call him because I already have a Grogu. I have the big, like, original release plushie guy from Walmart from, like, when the show came out. But this is him. He makes little noises, I think. Is he on? Hold on. He might not be on. I always forget how to turn him on. Oh, there we go. Ta-da! Very cute. I think he makes other sounds. Hold on. For sound. Okay. I just think he's cute. I'm gonna have to turn him back off because he's gonna keep dripping. Hold on. I'm just gonna turn him off. And now he's asleep. Okay. I'm gonna go now and rest my voice. So I will talk to you later. Grandma knows when I finish my book or when I'm in the kitchen, but that won't be for hours. So I'll have time to rest my voice. So talk to you later. Hi, Grandmolinos. I know I'm still hoarse. Since I mentioned that I had the Leiku, the like fit over your head like little hat, I thought I would show them to you. I also might take a photo with these later just for the thumbnail for fun. Yes, I'm super hoarse. I'm gonna take a sip of water and then we're gonna talk about the book. Okay, so I have finished it. It's after work, just so you know. I read a hunk of this during lunch, and admittedly I like sped read a bit. And I did read, but I was like, some things just, so I just like kept going. If I had a little bit of downtime, I would look through it a little. So I did finish it. I feel like the front of this book should genuinely have like a something that says like Galactic Star Cruiser novel, because a lot of this book, once they get to the honeymoon, and even like the setup to the honeymoon, like the wedding stuff is cute, but it's not a ton of time. And then like a lot of the setup is like, you should go on the Halcyon, you should go on the Halcyon. And then once we're on the Halcyon, something just fell over. A lot of it is like setting up and showing you the different areas of the ship that were part of the cruise slash vacation experience that they offered in the Galactic Star Cruiser package. Like the 2, 3, whatever, the day events. I think it was technically like 2 days. But like they're just showing you all of that and like how it fits in, and like it feels a lot like just a means to make you want to go and experience the Halcyon. And like the farther you get into the book, so eventually the Halcyon does stop. Let's see, when does that actually happen? Icy water station. Okay, let's see. Hold on. Just trying to see when it... Yeah, okay, so around like, I'm gonna say like around the 200 page mark. So probably about halfway, we get them on a planet. And that is like its own little story. But all of the stuff on the Halcyon just feels very promotional. And I almost wish this were not a book and instead like a graphic novel of Han and Leia. So like all of the Halcyon stuff could have just been like images or like them moving around, because it just feels kind of forced. Like Leia has to go to the bridge, or like Han winds up going to the brig, or Han goes to play Hollow Sabacc. Like so much of it feels very forced. And I feel like as a graphic novel, it wouldn't. I will give it props that there is a scene where Leia mentions that she talked to Kira, which occurred only in the comics from what I remember. And that was a fun little moment. Just because I love Kira. We have a dog named Kira. So you can guess how much I love Kira. So that was like a fun little nod. And like some of the scenes are cute. And like we get a couple fade to black scenes, which was interesting to me. And there's some kissing, there's some cute stuff. But a lot of Leia's plot becomes her wondering about the Force and like trying to force herself to have the Force. And so like a lot of it felt very like trying to set you up for like Leia's gonna train to be a Force user. And then Han keeps talking about how he lost a year while he was in Carbonite. And he just keeps talking about it. Like, it just keeps coming up, and I'm like, buddy, we get it. You lost a year with Leia, but also, like, you're married now, so you can make up for the year that you lost with Leia. Come on. So, like, it was fine. It just felt very promotional of something that Disney then discontinued. So, like, I think this would have been better served as a graphic novel. Now, it's not the author's fault. I am so sure that the author was told to hit certain points or to discuss certain things. Let's see. Yeah. Is this her first? Star Wars book. Interesting. Did I read Rebel Rising? I think I read Rebel Rising. Let me look that up real fast. So like, let me look. I think I have read a book by this author before, which is why I'm kind of like, I feel like, yeah, I have totally read this. So she wrote the Rebel Rising Jyn Erso novel for Rogue One, and I really, really liked that book. So like, I do think that this book suffers from the fact that Disney wanted there to be a lot of, I have to take some water. A lot of promotion and discussion of the Halcyon and like all the amenities and all the stuff in the Halcyon. And that doesn't serve the plot. It only serves as a promotional tool. But when that experience doesn't exist anymore, it then kind of makes that promotional element that you've included feel unnecessary, and kind of could have cut 100 pages out of this book, because 100 of those pages really lean into like what you can experience with the Halcyon, what's happening on the Halcyon, what the Halcyon is. And like, if we took the Halcyon out of it and just made it like a ship they were on and didn't focus on all of the amenity stuff, then I think the book would have been a smoother, faster book, because I do remember really enjoying Rebel Rising. So I just think that having a book with Han and Leia newly married, all of that could be very fun, but the book is bogged down by the fact that Disney is using this as a promotional tool for the Halcyon, which they then discontinued. So that's a bummer. I think I would have loved this more if it hadn't been basically a promotional tool disguised as not a promotional tool. And I think the front of the book should have said a Galactic Star Cruiser novel, because the comics all said stuff about like, this is a comic for the Galactic Star Cruiser. And I read all of those. I did. I even have them. And I still think they should have put that on this book. I'm gonna cough. And we're back. So I would say read Rebel, something just fell. And I'm gonna have to look because the cats broke something. Well, didn't break anything, but almost broke a bunch of stuff in the bedroom. So very quickly, I will say read Rebel Rising by Beth Revis, because I very much enjoyed that, and I love Jyn Erso and I love Rogue One. I do not think this book is worth your time, which sucks, but I just don't think it's necessary. And I do actually think there is a tiny comic that mentions that they honeymooned on the Halcyon. Also, so did Padme and Anakin. I would say read the comics. I just say to support this author in a Star Wars story, read Rebel Rising. For sure, read Rebel Rising. You don't need to read this book, especially if you're a bit irked that Star Wars was given this like whole experience that was in very poorly thought out and then canceled, and that all the promotional materials they did are now like useless. And also, if you think about it, they made so much stuff to set up Batuu on Galaxy's Edge, and now they've completely undone any of that with the new like carryover. Sorry, now my nose is running, which means I really do need to go, and I need to make sure they didn't break anything. Like, there's so much stuff that they made that now is only like kind of tangentially useful, if useful at all. The cookbook is a delight, but none of the recipes in that cookbook are actually recipes for the park. They're made up. They're completely different. Nothing matches what they do in the park at all. The Ronto wrap recipe in there, completely different. The Ronto wrap stuff that I'm using is from a completely different thing, made by a third party in cooperation with Disney. So like, I just think Disney hindered themselves in a lot of regards. And also, this book, while technically Star Wars, is Disney. Like, this is owned by Disney, and this book could have been so much better. They could have still mentioned the Halcyon if they wanted to, but just focusing on it for so long did not help the plot. All right, I'm gonna go, but I think we're doing something fun after work, even though Krista and I don't feel great. I feel better. I'm just like still sniffly, and my throat is not great. It doesn't hurt. It's just I'm losing my voice. So I'm gonna go. I will talk to you later. May bring you with us. No, I probably won't bring you with us if we're in the car. We're just going through a drive-through. But I'll show you stuff from that if we do end up going, and I will show you the kitchen stuff that I'm doing, because I am making cookies and I am doing 2 quick little things. But yes, so I finished the books for this vlog. There will be no more reading. There will just be discussions, non-spoilery, of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie tomorrow, and you'll get to see my outfit, and we'll do some kitchen stuff. But I will talk to you later this evening, Grumelinos.
Hello, Grumelinos. My voice is still a hot mess, but I'm dressed as Leia. I have the child. Krista's wearing a cute Mando sweatshirt from Walmart. We're gonna head in. Our movie's in like 30 minutes-ish. Yeah, Krista's nose is running pretty bad. And mine it stopped, but my throat is still trash. So we're headed in though. So I will see you probably after the movie, because I don't know that I can really film in there. Though I will probably have Krista take a photo of me in my outfit since I did the full Leia with the boots and all that jazz. But we'll see you after the Mandalorian and Grogu for brief thoughts with no spoilers. Also, I didn't cook yesterday, which really just meant I didn't make cookies, coleslaw, or mayo because I did not feel great. So I'm doing that today though, because we're having Ronto wraps, gosh dang it, and dark side cookies. We'll see you after the movie. This is only because absolutely no one is in here, but we're here. This is the outfit, including the boots. I don't know how else to show you that. The hood falls down a lot when I walk, but I have to hide the back. The wig is very tiny. But now that my hair is currently brown and shaved, it hides a little. But that'll show you the outfit. Krista's running to the bathroom, and I'm gonna get comfy. Sorry, I can tell it's all weird. I'll probably take it off during the movie anyway. So we're just gonna chill, watch a movie. I'm kind of surprised no one's here, but maybe everyone went Thursday and Friday. I don't know. Oh, this is comfy though. The dress is actually really comfy. That's why I picked this one over Ahsoka. The only downside is the wig, but it's not that bad. All right, I'm gonna put you away. I'll talk to you after the movie, Grumelinos. Hi, Grumelinos. My voice is still not back. I'm now wearing this oversized children's Grogu sweatshirt, and Krista is feeling extra awful. But we're here. It is like almost 6, if not 6. We went to the movie. We ran into Mando's after the movie. Sorry, I'm drinking my coffee from this morning. It made me burp. There's a group of folks who do like Mandalorian attire. I forget what their actual like name is, but they were at the movie theater and they said hi. Apparently someone told them that Leia was at the theater because they were looking for me. So yeah, we said hi. And our general thoughts are like, it was fun to see Mando and Grogu on the big screen, but like, I don't know that needed a theatrical release. Like, it was a fun time. Like, it was fun to dress up and take Grogu and take some photos and be with my wife at the movies. But also, like, the film was kind of like, some of the scenes were kind of dark. And that might just be our theater because they were having lighting issues. Like, they didn't turn off the theater lights until right as the movie started. And it just felt like the movie was still, like, dark in some spots. Like, dark enough that you couldn't even tell what was happening. But like, overall it was fun. Again, it was like cool seeing Mando and Grogu and Zeb. Zeb is in Rebels, if you didn't know, if you're seeing the movie and you've never watched Rebels, but Zeb is a big character in that. But overall it was fun. Also, if you're going into this and you haven't watched Clone Wars, Rada the Hutt is stinky. He's this little tiny Hutt who gets kidnapped in a couple of episodes of Clone Wars, and Ahsoka and Anakin have to rescue him. So it was just fun that they brought him back. But like, overall the movie was a fine time. Like, again, it was fun to see, but did I need to go to the theater to see it? Not really. Like, I probably would have benefited from seeing it at my own house instead. Just because, like, we both felt kind of okay. Like, we felt fine enough to go out. Like, my issue is that I really just, like, still have a very sore throat. And it's from the coughing. Like, it doesn't hurt now, but like it'll hurt after this because I am talking. And I felt okay at the theater, but I was using some cough drops to try and avoid coughing. And they made me a little stomach upset after. But like, I don't feel wildly sick anymore. I just sound horrible. And my nose is running. But after the movie was over, Krista was like, I feel genuinely awful. And she's been napping. But she's here. Yeah, so we're really not doing anything else. We need to eat. So I am going to take you down to the kitchen because I do want to make those dark side cookies today. And I had another cookie thing I wanted to make. And I want those in the video. So those will probably be like the last things in this. I'll show you the recipes for the slaw and the clutch sauce. Just so you can see them. But I don't know that I'm making those tonight. I am going to make them because I don't want to waste the coleslaw. That's really the only thing I'm worried about. The mayo we have plenty of. Because I have an entire extra jar, I think. But I'll at least show you the cookies and I'll show you the recipe in the Delish magazine in case you want to do it. If you want to see how our Ronto wraps have come out in the past, I did a ton of videos last May and I made them in there and I went over the whole recipe and did like a whole thing. So if you really want to know how I make our Ronto wraps, just go back and watch those videos. The dark side cookies are remarkably easy and the other thing I'm making is going to be easy, but I just want to show it to you because I think it's going to be cute. But yeah, overall, the movie was a fun time. I don't regret going to the movie. It was fun going as Leia. It was fun bringing Grogu. It was fun going to the movies with Krista. But overall, I really don't know that it was like a thing you needed to see in theaters. And if you're not, I don't even know that you need to be worried about spoilers, because I don't see how people could really spoil it for you, like, ultimately. So, like, because it's a one-off. So if you didn't know, it is a one-off adventure. They didn't want to tie it into anything, so you really won't miss anything if you wait. Like, I don't see how people can spoil it for you. So if you'd rather watch it on streaming, I would say just wait until it's on Disney Plus. Because eventually it has to be on Disney Plus. But still, it was a fun time. I do love Mando and Grogu, and we got a lot of Grogu scenes that were very cute. So yeah, we're gonna go down to the kitchen and get some food, and I'll show you some stuff in a little bit. Right now I'm gonna enjoy this sweatshirt. I might switch into a different sweatshirt just so I don't get anything on this one, because it's very pale green. But yeah, this is an XL Kids, because I thought the sleeves were cute. I don't know if I can really show you. Grogu's on both sleeves. But I will see you in the kitchen in a little bit, Gremlin Nose. Hello, Gremlin Nose. I'm making Krista a pizza, so I thought I would show you the stuff. I am gonna eat one thing, but I'll show you the other stuff that I'm not gonna actually make for you on camera. So the first thing is, I did mention the Delish cookbook. Kira is whining because we're in the kitchen. So I've had this forever. I don't know where you could get this anymore. Maybe online somewhere. The recipes might exist online, but this is the section that I use. The Ronto wrap. I don't know. Oh, it's cat treats. So they have like a picture, and then I follow this stuff. I only use the clutch sauce and the coleslaw, which has like a name, I think. Just wrap slaw. We don't make the wrap, and I don't do the pork shoulder because I don't see the point of making a pork shoulder at home. But I'll try and get that to focus for you in case you want it. Here you go. Oh. Should have grabbed my coffee. So dark side cookies, they're super easy, so I'm just going to show you the package. I make no changes. I just make the double chocolate chunk cookie mix as it says to make on the back. But these are really good, and they're very easy. There is apparently an actual recipe for dark side cookies, but admittedly I'd rather use box mix when I can instead of from scratch. So the thing I want to try to end the video is, I got these, well, Krista got them for me, and Chloe actually. They ordered these ages ago, but I haven't had them yet. So this is Nilla Wafers Grogu Nilla Nummies. Please note, they don't look like this. My mom used to buy Nilla Wafers when I was a kid all the time, and I swear they were bigger. But like, the Nilla Wafers in this box are so small. Like, this is the size of an actual quarter. That's so weird. What I'm gonna do, because Grogu eats little blue macarons, and I'm not gonna make a blue macaron, is I have cannoli cream in a tube. I have free will. Dollop. Bringing waters upstairs. Okay, thank you. Cookie. Made a little sandwich, and delicious. Very easy. So to do that, if you want like a Grogu style cookie, I may eat some of those for dessert later. But ages ago they did blue macarons for like actual Star Wars ones, because Grogu eats them, and Williams Sonoma sold them, and we bought them. Yes, we were insane. This was like 3-4 years ago. We did buy them, and they were literally just blue vanilla macarons, and I was so irritated because my local grocery store actually makes blueberry macarons that taste really good and are like a fifth of the price, and I was like, I could have just bought those. But we did eat them. We ate all of them. I actually wound up mashing up half a box of them to make these like fun blue cookies, so they were worth it. Just super expensive, and they don't make them anymore. They're called the Navarro Nummies, so that's where the nummy came from. But that was tasty. I'm gonna put this cannoli cream in a Ziploc for safety and get it back in the fridge. Get Krista's pizza done. I'm just gonna make soup because my throat hurts, and I bought some soup, so I'm gonna do that. But that is the end of the vlog. I know it was supposed to be kind of a short vlog. I did like one of the 2 books I read, and I did have fun at the movies. I just wish like I was feeling a little bit better. But yeah, so I hope you enjoy this. I need to go drink water because my throat hurts now. So I'm just gonna say like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I will see you in the next one, Gremlin Knows. Bye.